always, this is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah LaVern. And yes, this is one street over, a chance for you to know what's going on, what's happening one street over from where you're living. And one of my favorite people to bring in to find out just what's happening one street over is always Mayor Billy Vogle. What is up, sir?
Well, I'd have to say this week is starting out better than last week.
Yeah, buddy.
You know, I had 8.5 inches of rain last Saturday.
Oh, my gosh, I know. It's crazy.
Behind my house, and it looked just like it did when they had the Nashville flood.
It came really close in my yard too. It got up. If you've ever been in my yard, we have this fire pit that's built into the hill right there at the crest where it comes to our house, and it got up to the fire pit during the Nashville flood. It got super close this time, but just for a minute, and then it started pulling back. So it wasn't quite that high, but it got close.
You know, what affects a lot of Red River is what happens up in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And you've seen the governor. I seen him on TV again this morning.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. He's wanting help, expecting help. But I have learned as mayor that when FEMA says they're going to come in and help you out, sometimes that don't happen.
Well, unfortunately, and I mean, that's one thing. Well, and sometimes it's not the help you want either, quite frankly, because, I mean, that's what happened in Mayfield. Well, you know, when we had the tornado come through there, what happened with FEMA just slowed us down, quite frankly. If they'd let the farmers, if they'd let the people who know, the people who, like my brother had opportunities to come in with his, he had, things that could help with excavating and all that, willing to help. They wouldn't let him, in a lot of things. And I mean, there's so much, and I'm not going to say too much. He'll be like, LaVern, shut your mouth. But I mean, there was just so much that went on with that. And a lot of it was because FEMA's like, we're in charge. And so sometimes,
we all jump up and knee jerk and start shipping water and all this. And next thing you know, it gets put out in the sun, and
it's ruined.
A lot of times the water is not what they're needing. They're needing other things.
Well, they needed it first, but everybody wants to help.
And it does. Yeah. Ace Timmeyer, I was talking to her about 2 weeks ago. She's back with United Way now, and she's kind of over a region.
Yeah.
And she's going to get with everybody where we can start planning a better plan when there is a disaster.
I love that idea.
And get everybody on the same page. We don't need 25 people carrying truckloads of water up there when there's other things that they need too.
Yeah.
Get it on a page where we're not wasting stuff.
I agree. And that's one of the hardest things. And again, when you've been through it, and because my family's in Mayfield, I've got to see firsthand that just too much stuff coming in to where they just didn't really know what to do with it. And it just was overwhelming. It was wonderful that they had so much help, but it got to be, you didn't want to waste it. You didn't want to not be a good steward of what's been handed to you, but you just didn't really know where to go with some of that stuff. And it was overwhelming at times. It was, but then the things, then you had people that were being prevented, by the federal government from building, or from the city or whoever from building on their property because the zoning was changed because the property, I can't be, the nonsense that went on in Mayfield.
Some stuff's grandfathered in, some's not.
Not if the building's gone.
Yeah, but the building's gone. You know what? Then we went into snow. I just want to tell people to thank you for being patient. I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning, and I would ride the roads, and then we communicate with Springfield and city police and the county and everybody to kind of get an idea of what's going on. And the parking lot was treacherous. So we had to shut down, and we got the ice, the sidewalks, and I got up the next morning, it done snowed again. So I go up there at 4 o'clock, and there it is. The parking lots is all covered up, the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And we don't want any taxpayer to step out of their car and break a hip or something.
Yeah.
But luckily, we had it cleaned up by 9 o'clock.
Wow.
So we opened at 10 and carried on.
That's what blew my mind. And I didn't realize they had more coming in. We had that first little bit. And then when we got up the next morning and saw it was here again. I was like, what? And so, we knew we were going to be out of school for the rest of the week. But, it was something else now. I'm telling you. But as a teacher, I kind of enjoyed it. Having some time off. I kind of needed it because I had some surgery the week before, and so it gave me an opportunity to kind of heal. So it was like, I was like, thank you, Lord, because I didn't want to miss school. I
don't like shutting down anything.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'm not brought up that way.
I am not either. I am not either.
But if the main roads is clear, I can't do nothing about the back roads.
No.
If the main roads is clear into town, we're going to be open.
Yeah.
As best I can.
Well, and that's why, if you're in a situation and you're working for a group, this is something I have these conversations. You and I were talking about this before we went on. As a career teacher, I talk to my kids all the time about what life is like working in the private sector, because I said that's my whole world until these last few years, is working in a very tough industry in broadcasting for the private sector, and you just don't not show up. You don't be like, well, it's icy, I can't be there. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, you just don't, or you get fired. And I said, you've got to understand, people paying you, if people's writing you a check, that's a privilege that you're getting, that you have a job and you're getting a check and you better perform. I had somebody say one time, explaining how they became vice president of a company when they didn't have a college education or anything. Somebody asked him, how in the world did you grow up in this company? And he said, I went home. He goes, first job I had in this company, I went home and my dad asked me, what'd you do today? And I told him I did this, 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 and this. And he goes, I was filthy dirty. I'd done the worst of the jobs. I was the low man on the totem pole. And Dad said to me, he says, well, what did you do that they didn't ask you to do?
Yeah.
And he said, and that just struck a chord with me. And from that point on, I was like, I need to every day do something they didn't ask me to do. And the man was the vice president of the company. I mean, he grew up because they knew they could trust him. And we've got to return to that work ethic. This nonsense of just every time you get an opportunity to, let's lay out and let's not work. It's just, it's not good for our society at all.
People ask me, said, Mayor, won't you shut the building down? I said, looky here, I got a lot of departments on me that cannot take off. EMS can't take off. No. Solid waste can't shut down.
No.
Animal control, somebody has to be there for 7 days to clean out those cages and feed those dogs. EMA has to work. The sheriff department has to work.
Our linemen, goodness.
I mean, you can't just shut down the county. Yeah. Now you say, well, you can shut down the building, but is that fair to the ones that's outside working too?
Yeah.
You got essential workers, and maybe you might say they're non-essential, but they're still important.
Yeah.
And if there's any way we can get there to open that building up, that's what we need to do.
I agree with you. And it's not a popular opinion.
No.
Because people like I said, I'm a teacher and I sure enjoyed my snow days last week. But I don't like the fact that I'm behind on everything now. Now I'm back in school and we've got so much to do. And I'm like this, I wanted to get this done. I wanted to get this done. And here we are. And so, trying to get these kids motivated to kind of work harder because they were out, it's difficult, but nonetheless, it is a beautiful day in Robertson County. Sun is high in the sky. God is good. And I think we're touching 60 degrees today, Mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Let me tell one more story. I was at a service station at 4:00 in the morning. The guy was in there, and he was upset. And I was over listening. He said, I'm a steel worker. I went to work, and they want me to shovel snow for a couple hours. He said, I just told him, said, look, I'm a steel worker. Said, I don't shovel snow. They said, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to pay you 2 hours and want you to just go home.
Wow.
And I thought, man,
Well, if you've got that attitude, then yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, I said, man, you wouldn't last long with me.
No, I wouldn't either, because I'm telling you, if snow's in the way of your job, we got to move the snow before you can do the job.
Yeah.
That's just part of it. And how old of a guy was he?
He looked to be in his 30s, and I'm like,
right there.
I'm like, before we get in the office building, somebody's got to go snow over that show. That's all it is to it. Somebody's got to do it.
You better believe it. I had somebody tell me one time, I worked in ministry for a little while, and I had somebody say something to me one time. They were comparing different preachers and stuff like that had been through their church. And they said, they were talking about this one and that one. And they said, this was absolutely my favorite person as far as the ministers that led the church, because whenever they would have big gatherings and things like that, they didn't just stand back and visit. They got in and started moving chairs and moving plates and getting in there and not letting the ladies do it, because that really drives me nuts when they're like, well, the girls will do it. It's like, this gentleman would come in and just, roll up his sleeves and just get into it. But he was the lead pastor. And they said that just impressed me like crazy. And that's what we've got to become, is just do the job that needs to be done. Maybe it's not the job you were hired to do, but it's got to be done before you can do the job you were hired to do. And I just don't understand why we can't have more of that mindset. But unfortunately, there's a lot of folks haven't been trained with that work ethic. You and I are from a generation that's been, the work. We've got to reinstall. My kids, I bet your kids are the same way. My kids are doing fabulous. And the reason why is they were raised with a really strong work ethic. And I have people who work with my children tell me all the time that there's something unique about them, and it's that work ethic. And I'm telling you right now, it is a game changer.
Well, I love my kids. They've done great, but I've noticed today's kids, they want things too quick, too fast.
You better believe they do.
They do want that.
Yes.
They do want that.
Yes, they do.
Well,
we've solved the world problems here. Mayor Vogle and I.
We'll let y'all call in, and we'll try to straighten you out. But,
you can see.
Last night we had a hour and a half meeting.
Is that short or long?
It's a long meeting.
Oh, really? Okay.
A long meeting, and it was over one thing. I'll get down to that, but first I want to brag on somebody.
Okay.
We always start with a call to order, roll call, invocation.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Ayers last night, commissioner out of Cedar Hill, led our prayer and a pledge, and then we do our minutes from previous meeting. We had a change in the minutes, first time in my 30 years. Parcel of land was missed by 2/10 of an acre. So we changed the minutes that this piece of property was a little bigger than what we was told. And that's the first time I've ever seen a change in the minutes because we're pretty punctual. Madam Clerk, Angie Groves, does our minutes, and she's pretty good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So she called it, and we changed it.
Okay.
All right. In our communications last night, Danny Weeks recognized principals that are high-performing schools. And I learned something last night. We got a level 5 is the growth for our level 5 schools was way above the average. And I want to recognize Coopertown, the Invitational Academy, Greenbrier High School, and Watauga.
We're proud of what Greenbrier has been able to accomplish this past year.
Katie does a great job. Dr. Katie.
Dr. Katie Osborne.
Now, she come from a mom and dad that you got out, you took care of your chores before you ate breakfast.
Farmers.
Yeah.
She'll every now and then use an analogy from her tobacco farming days, and I just love it because I'm a farm girl, so I really identify with that very well. But yes, we're super. I mean, not only that, we've got like a B rank, which is to be able to achieve a B ranking and to be a level 5. It's like, it's awesome. We're pretty excited. We're pretty excited.
And then the principal, we awarded some principals last night for their achievements of moving some schools up. It was Invitational Academy again. And Joe Burns Elementary and Watauga Elementary.
Innovation Academy.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Innovation Academy. Yeah.
I had the pleasure of eating dinner last Friday with the FFA state chapter.
Oh.
And it's the Future Farmers of America.
Uh-huh.
And let me tell you, last year, all the state officials were ladies, girls.
Was Chelsea Rose in amongst that bunch you had dinner with? Because Chelsea Rose, John Rose is our former congressman. Yeah. We got redistricting. Now we're with Mark Green, but Chelsea is some high up person in the state FFA, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I met her, but the officers was all there representing different schools.
Okay.
Of course, school was out last week, so we didn't have the regular program.
Yeah.
But everybody in the room, we got talking about how you's touched by farming.
Mm-hmm.
And we had lawyers there, mayors, bankers, and every one of them stood up and said, working in tobacco as a kid inspired them to do better.
Well, I'm telling you, when you do that hard work, it's one of those things. I never had to work anything like my brother because my brother took it on as his own. And so, but I did enough of it that I just have a great appreciation for what it is to have an agricultural lifestyle.
Well, I told.
And it's never ending, it's just constant.
Kerry Roberts was sitting next to me. And at the end of everybody introduced themselves, and you could see tobacco had made a big impression on them because they worked in it. They didn't think they was going to make a career out of it. Mm-hmm. And I told Kerry Roberts, I said, you need to make a resolution or put something in the house that every student in Ross County should have to work in the tobacco patch for 1 year. because the whole room was full of successful people.
That's right.
It started out in that tobacco patch.
Well, that thought of if every kid could just have to haul hay, go pick up hay. I arranged it where one of my youngest boys got to haul hay one time, and he was like, "Oh my!" He's an electrical engineer now.
Yeah.
So he decided he wanted out of the hay field. But I just had a friend of mine that said, "I need some boys to help me haul some hay," and I said, "I got them for you." And they both. It was a friend of mine's boy and then my son. They were like, "That's the hardest thing ever." I'm like, "You have no idea." It was just so funny. But
we moved down into our election appointments last night. Didn't have but one thing. Out of the Agriculture Committee, Tom Head is resigning. Tom's about my age. He's been on there a long time. Replaced him with Jason Newberry. Jason is a beef farmer, and he's into he raises turf. He rolls up and sells on right-of-ways and in people's homes and stuff, and he's in that business.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be a good replacement for Tom. But I want to thank Tom for all his years of service. He's been involved with FHA and all that, and does a great job out there at his home. He's into some agribusiness, like farming, but it's apples, and he's got places where kids can learn about the hay rows and during the summer.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, the kids take field trips out to his place.
That's cool.
They see how apples are made into apple cider, how jellies and jams are made.
Oh, I love their place. It's neat. It's a neat place. It's one of my favorite. I don't get out there near enough, but I love their cider too.
If you're out there, you'd be a good sponsor.
Huh? Oh, you have them be a sponsor for our show?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Y'all want to come on? So we need to have them on. I'll have them on soon.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Hey, now we're going to get into what last night took so long and was the meat of our program. In a public hearing last night on zoning, that's when I let the public become a member of the court. Mm-hmm. And we had one zoning issue, and that was it, just one, which is unusual. But it was a project of a development up toward the White House on Callista Road.
Mm-hmm. If
you're familiar with that area up there, it has been saturated with homes. But the road is still the same as it was before the first one was built. It's a very narrow road, and I got to be careful with my words. I don't want to knock any cities or nothing, but the cities are wanting homes. They want rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the public restaurants and the steakhouses and all this without the rooftops.
Right.
And most of these restaurants come in here, they're wanting to serve at least 2 meals a day. If they can't make it on 2, then one meal's not going to survive.
In other words, they want to have lunch and dinner. They've got to have enough people that they've got patrons that'll come in for both of those meals.
Right. And then sometimes it may be just all they need is lunch and breakfast.
Right.
But they got to have 2 meals to get by.
That's what Larry's is, right?
Yeah.
Lunch and breakfast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they got to have 2 meals to get by.
Right.
And now I understand we're a sales tax state, and we depend on that sales tax dollar, and that's where the commercial business comes in, and that's where the rooftops come in.
Mm-hmm.
But the trouble is we've given out more housing permits than we got infrastructure.
Roads and things like that.
Water.
Yeah.
And as a county mayor, it looks like we get stuck with the road part.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in the utility business. We're not in water and electricity. So I understand how the cities, what their needs are, but it don't necessarily mean it works good for the county. Building the schools and the jails and running the court system, and we're very blessed in Robinson County to do free trash. The cities bring their trash to us, and it's free. But I don't know how long we can keep doing this. Right now, I know Springfield's got some projects coming up, but right now, White House, I think there's still 3,000 housing permits that haven't even been started.
Oh, wow.
And we take their trash for free. Now, if you're looking at 3,000, you're probably talking at least another school up there.
Right.
So, folks, I'm telling you, we are going to have a tax increase to meet these needs.
And nobody wants to hear that.
And, nobody wants to hear it.
No.
But when the state and the federal government mandates stuff for education,
mm-hmm.
it falls on the county hands.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way we can keep surviving on this tax rate we got. And I know I'm doom and gloom, but that's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a fact. We don't know what the future holds on the federal level, but I can tell you the more people that's moving in here. And my philosophy, last night at the county commission, we had a very long hour discussion. If developers are going to come in and buy the land, last night this developer was not from Robinson County. He was coming in here and he had done bought the land. If you're going to come in here and build houses, if you want to play, you're going to have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about with roads. We're working right now to try. No, we're not going to try. We're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a development and you buy the land and it's in the city limits or whatever, but the road belongs to the county that's around it, we're going to make you fix that road back. When you get done with your concrete trucks and all, we're going to have a bond on that road. You're going to have to put it back like it was before you did what you did. You know, we're looking at turning lanes for a certain number of houses. We're going to do what it takes to get the traffic to keep moving, especially if you got school bus stops and all that. On a 16-foot right-of-way, you put concrete trucks, rock trucks, and then you put a school bus out there. It's just not enough room to get by.
Mm-mm.
So we're going to probably make them go to 20 feet, at least along the edge of the property where the development is. I mean, they're going to have to do it. The county's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Troy Atkins said last night. In that one area, that road commissioner only has $170,000 to do things with. And that's not going to do much.
Oh, no. I mean, in this day and age, it's in
not when
the bucket.
Not when the road's $125,000 a mile.
Yeah.
So some developers going to do it. We cannot put that burden on the people that's been here for 30 years.
Right.
Now, we can say, well, what about the state? They give you money. That state fuel tax is not doing near what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about in East Tennessee, the damage up there is $600 million. And I read something this week that's interesting for people to know on the south side of the county. $133 million has been put in for I-24. Starts at the Clarksville line and goes down as far as that money will go. But that project's not subject to start to the year 2033.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's when it's going to start.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how far backed up everything is right now.
That's insane.
And I got to give, White House was catching a lot of slack last night because this development was up on Callista Road. Well, Callista's already crowded. And White House did annex a lot of land up there and build houses on it, and maybe didn't have the road structure, and they depend on the state and the county to do it. But we don't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
And the state is so far backlogged now that to have any help on Callista Road is at least 10 years away.
That's incredible.
10 years.
That's incredible.
So we're going to have to start making some developers do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, well, you can't do that. Developers, I can see them right now ready to throw radio out the window. But if you'll notice, the governor, even on his interstates, is going to using private citizens to put in lanes to their factories,
mm-hmm.
Corporations or whatever. Hey, if you want another lane for traffic, you pay for it, and it'll go into your factory.
Right.
We're following that lead, and we have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
There's other cities that's already doing this. Williamson County, Rutherford.
It's the right thing. It's absolutely the right thing to do. And honestly, so much of this, the development will be like, well, we're going to bring this development. It's going to help your community and it's going to be a benefit to you. So we want you to give us these tax breaks and all that kind of thing. That's so much bull. I mean, for the people that are paying the taxes, we're like, really? And you're not going to be lining your pockets? I mean, it's just like,
Well, I mean, I know the greasy wheel gets the squeak.
I know. But
squeaky wheel there, but also, it's like there's just not enough money to be handed around to the working man.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it comes through the screens or whatever, we're losing money on our fuel tax at the airport.
Mm.
Just because some of their bigger companies have been giving fuel breaks on Southwestern and all of them, and that do a lot. They buy a lot by quantity. They're getting breaks, so that means our airport's getting less money on fuel tax, which us do things. And Troy Atkins will tell you right now that rock and asphalt is going up every month. These fuel prices or whatever that you make that stuff with. So how do you sit status quo and meet the demand of the growth, you can't do it. You just can't do it. It won't work out. You people that's got your budgets in your house, when you're spending more on the same dollar 5 years ago, you're not getting what you was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Same way with the county.
Right.
Yeah, sure, we're cutting corners all we can. I promise you, the budget committee and the county commission, they look at everything. We redo, whether it's your health insurance or whatever, trying to figure a way to get it the best way that it helps out the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
But rooftops just don't quite pay for themselves.
No. Yeah. Well, very good. And so did you, as far as that, you said that was the thing that took up most of the time last night. Was there a conclusion? Did you reach some kind of, what was
we had, where's my sheet at? We had a bunch of people speak last night.
Okay.
I wrote them all of them's names down, and I give them 3 minutes, and a lot of them can't get their opinion in 3 minutes. So I do have to cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
And just said, well, can I say one more thing? And I said, no, you cannot. You done went over. Because if I let one go over, then that 5 in front of him's got their hand up saying, hey, you let him go over, let me. It's not a rebuttal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's so, but we had several people get up, and the city of White House had some officials there. And in their credit now, they know that they probably gave more permits than they got infrastructure. They had a tax increase last year. City of White House, they got tired of waiting on TDOT to put in 3 red lights.
Yeah.
So they had a tax increase. They bought 3 red lights at like $1.2 million or $3 million a piece.
That just seems insane to me that it costs that much.
And they knew these intersections up there around Callista and out there on 76, they knew they couldn't wait for TDOT to do it.
Right.
TDOT had done told them it's going to be 5 to 7 years.
Jeez.
So I got to give you just got to say, way to go, White House. You solve safety first and you raise taxes and you're going to fix that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that popular? I bet it wouldn't. I bet it wouldn't.
Sure wasn't.
But it had to be done. It had to be done. And even some of the folks that's against growth, I think, are happy that White House has done that. And, I admire them. They seen a problem. They knew they had to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'll see them up there are slowing things down too.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing helps or hurts, when you have a rain like we did last week, you got people bought new homes and all of a sudden there's water in their basement. And they want to know why that happened. Since it's not something I did, but since I've been mayor, we have hired an engineer that when a developer turns in plans for a subdivision, after he turns in the plans of how many houses he's going to put, they look at that plan and they'll start marking off houses. Just no, we can't put one right there. You're going to have water problems. We do that.
Yeah.
Now, developers don't like it, but if you sell that house and there's water running through that basement, my phone starts ringing.
You better believe it.
And I don't want my phone ringing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they could come back on the county and say, why'd you let them build a house?
Yeah, why'd you give them a permit to build it? You knew it was a flood.
We've had to go in and rock and tile some places that houses were built before we had the engineer, because once that developer, sometimes he leaves that neighborhood, it's over.
Yeah.
You built the house and you bought the house and that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And they can say somebody else built a subdivision next to them. It caused water in their subdivision. I hear that all the time. So we do have an engineer that when they present a site plan that we go over with a fine-tooth comb.
Mm-hmm. And that's critical. It's just, if you don't understand, you can have developments that'll come in that will cause problems for one down the road and things like that. I know we had some issues back up in Kentucky when they put in the new 45 highway. There was a levee that was built that caused flooding on land that we owned, my family owned, that had never flooded. And Daddy had to come in and tile it and do all these kinds of things, and it was a problem. And it just, sometimes that does happen. But having an engineer look at that stuff and do that site planning, you can't just go in without those kinds of guides.
Yeah,
it'd be a disaster.
I'm going to use example, something just got built or just got redone. Look up here at the Robertson County Plaza. That used to be a hillside with an old house and
we're Robertson County Plaza.
Right across from my office building.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the new parking lot.
Yes, yes.
Before we did that, we had already put in baffles where water was running down toward those bonding companies there at the jail.
Okay.
And them baffles was over $200,000.
Oh my!
It was to deteriorate that water to slow it down.
Yeah.
And if you go up in that parking lot that we built, you'll see islands sticking out, and they'll say, "Well, they wasted a lot of land. They got a tree in it." Well, that's to keep the water from all running out at one time.
Okay.
It hits these places and it slows it down.
Okay.
And can you imagine the water that's coming off that hill now?
Oh yeah.
Going down on Moore Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
We had to do a lot of work there for that not to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think we've improved the looks of that area up there.
Oh, I think it looks great. Yeah.
I think it's a good job. I think it was a good plan. As this county grows, we gained about 100 parking lots and parking spaces.
Right.
We got to cut through where everybody's not cutting out on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
All the time, and Lord help us when they have scoot and dump trucks and going up that hill. But I think we changed the looks of that part, and also we gained some room. We gave the veterans a real nice office.
Oh, I know. They'll be in tomorrow, by the way.
Real nice office.
Mm-hmm.
911 is back there in the corner. Them ladies is working on changing your addresses. We've had some problems come up with they're building houses in between houses, and all the numbers is wrong now. So that's got to be fixed, folks. Listen, growth it's a long road to hoe. It is.
You know, this is so funny. We were visiting with my son that lives in Alabama, down in Huntsville, and their houses in the little area he's located. His was like, I don't know, like 322 maybe was his number, and right before him was like 343. They were not numbered in order.
Right.
It was the weirdest thing. It was almost like they came in and stuck another house in between, because we called them and like, which house is yours? And then we spotted their car, and we figured it out. I'm like, your houses are numbered just chaotically down here.
Okay, be an ambulance and try to find that.
I can't even imagine.
Everybody's doing Amazon. Y'all got that guy running up and down the road, backing up and turning around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be fixed. I know it's a headache. Mm-hmm. I've had my number fixed. It wasn't that big a deal. Mm-hmm. We survived it, and thank goodness the number's so high now that there'll never be a house. It won't affect me anymore. But can you imagine what's going on down Memorial Boulevard?
Oh yeah.
Around Hardy's there.
Yeah.
They're going to have to redo that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not going to be, hey, I can't wait till that meeting happens.
That's because that's gonna definitely change some things for sure. We're talking with Mayor Billy Vogle. They had I need to go ahead and do an ad here, but we had our county commissioners meeting last night. Now, it was a little out of what we're used to. We normally have it on the third Monday, but that was President's Day, so they pushed it to the fourth Monday. That is why he is in here the last Tuesday of the month, and we'll get back on. There'll be the normal schedule from here on out for the rest of the year. But just giving a report on what happened at the commissioners' meeting last night, county commissioners' meeting. If you have any questions, you can throw them up in comments on our social media pages. You can follow us at WSGI, or you can go to my page, LaVern Vivio, and see what we're doing and throw up your comments there as well. But we do want to pause and talk about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. I was just on Rebecca's page just a second ago and looking at a listing that she has just put up in Cottontown. I mean, this is one that's fresh too, guys. I mean, this was put up only, I don't know, in the last 24 hours. It's right in the middle of Cottontown. Beautiful, beautiful home that they have for sale, 432 Bowling Branch Road. Beautiful home out there. If you're looking for something out in that area, they've got one, 3 beds, 4 baths, 3,500 square feet. Really beautiful home, but just great listings. It isn't funny too. I love going on her and Barry's pages and just kind of seeing what they're up to. But she shared something about a 3D printed home. You going to buy some land and put a 3D printed home? Well, they can help you find some land where you can build whatever you want to build. Any question that you have about real estate, Barry and Rebecca, they're absolute experts. They're so interesting to talk to, and it's one of the questions, I always, when I bring them in, is like, well, is now a good time to buy? Of course it is. It's always a good time to buy because they're not making any more real estate, and the point they'll always make is when interest rates are a little bit higher, that means home prices are down. When interest rates are low, home prices go up. And that's just how it moderates. And so you're really, it's all going to be the same. It's just, are you going to pay it in interest or are you going to pay it in home price? So whenever you see a property that you want come up for sale, you better consider it, because it may be the only time in your lifetime that you get an opportunity at that, and especially in this area. Anything that you're interested in, they're great to talk to. Barry is the broker here in Springfield, has a brokerage office. She has her office out in White House. It's an agency office. They put those two together to bring you a new branch in the Exit tree. It's Exit Prime Realty. Any questions that you have about real estate, you can contact them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or robertsoncounty.com. They specialize in Robertson County properties because they're cross-Plainians. Robertson Countyans just like us, but they're also like me. They came from Kentucky, so they understand the nuances of, working in Tennessee and living in Kentucky. They can help you out with that. You can call Rebecca at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and please always let them know that U-Turn sent you. And as we get back into the show, commissioners meeting. What else you got for us?
I just want to say that the vote last night did not pass. It liked one vote being approved, but that don't mean that gentleman can't come back. He can come back in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And by then, I think our county commission will have in the plan for what we need developers to do to make a safer place to live and not be such a burden on the taxpayers that are here.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Sounds good.
Hey, growth is one thing, but you gotta have, what do you call it, planned growth, growth that everybody can live with. Because growth's going to happen. So that was the only zoning thing, but it took about an hour by the time everybody spoke and chewed the fat and whatever. It was a very learning experience for the county commissioners, knowing how Clyde Richard, our county attorney, is moving forward with zoning, and myself about the highway department too. They're very much involved about what we got planned for what's going to happen to these developers and what we expect from them. They expect things from us. We expect things from them to make a better Robertson County. Because it's happening. Folks are selling their land. I think the farm we're talking about last night brought way over $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I mean, there's a lot of people, they're just to that point that they're seeing, I mean, I'm in a, we've got 40 plus acres, about 43 acres, I think. And I don't know, none of my kids seem like they're heading back this way. One of them, I think, might come back here and build on us at some point. And we're not going anywhere anytime soon. But I mean, there may come a day that, we're just like, okay, this is too much for us to take care of. The kids are settled in other places. And you just get to those places where you just have to make those decisions, because I mean, I'm not getting any younger, but I feel like one of them will come on back, but I don't know.
If you're listening,
yeah,
you can get in the land trust.
Yeah.
I think people ought to look into that. What it is, your land can be sold. It just can't be developed. It can be sold for what it's used for right now, farming, agriculture, whatever, but it just can't be developed.
Right.
And that's to protect the greenways and around, you don't want a big development beside it, but still it may happen one day.
Right.
You can't control what's going on across the fence. And people fuss about zoning constantly. And like I told you, zoning is there to protect you too.
Yeah.
It's there to protect you. All right, let's move into resolutions.
Let's do it.
We got about 20 minutes
There
here.
you go.
The first one came from the court system. Ben Dean and John Grays and Christie was there to state this case and what it is. We're going to have to start, because of the court systems being backed up and needing more courtrooms. Building more courtrooms is not popular. It's just not something that people expect us to keep doing when a lot of our life, folks, is people that do right pay for some ones that don't. That's just the way it is. But we spent $60,000 last night to put in virtual courtrooms.
All right.
And that's going to stop, of course, a jury trial, you can't be virtual, but there's a lot of people that could come, whether it's chancery court or whatever, and instead of you coming to the courthouse, your lawyer might be there, or even your lawyer might be virtual, but that judge can handle in virtual meetings. Of course, you can't do that in hard crimes, but
right.
But there's a lot more stuff goes on.
There's a lot of money to be saved doing it that way.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Why can't we get this is totally chasing a rabbit, but wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get our federal government to go virtual and make all their all of the congressmen and all the senators stay in their state and not go to Washington? I don't know why we don't do that. I really don't. Well, wouldn't that get rid of so much of the lobbying and all of the nonsense if they had to stay where where the people live that they're representing and not go to Washington, because it's just so theatrical. I'm sorry, I digress. I just think, in this day and age, why in the world we're not doing that just blows my mind. But anyway, I'll hush.
The price last night was about $60,000 for the 2 screens.
Yeah.
But they'll be there forever and ever.
Yeah.
Ever and ever. And that just cuts down a lot of stuff. You know, when you have court, count the officers that's inside that courtroom too, for security.
Yeah.
And of course, don't nothing get handed to the judge that the officer don't take it first and then hand it over. So you're talking about a lot of things to make that clock work.
Yeah.
But for $60,000, we're putting and this is going by the way, this is going in the old courthouse. We're doing this now because the wires and stuff that's run, the carpet's being laid. We don't want anything laying on top of the floor. We are still running on date to get back in there when we told Judge Goodman then we would. And it's going to be a good-looking courthouse.
I can't wait to see it. I'm excited that they're revamping the courthouse. I think it's going to be beautiful. And it's so historic. I mean, it's really, truly, it's just such an historic building. I'm so glad it's being preserved.
Yeah, well, I tell people, even if we don't use it, we got to keep it up.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Here's something, a resolution that came from the school system. And to show you, this is a $951,000 resolution. But it's really what they've done. They have moved some money around to, like right here, they took $200,000 out of special ed to move to somewhere else. But they know that the state's going to come back and make this thing right. This is just to get things that there's so much moving wheels. I mean, I look at these budgets and I mean, I can't even comprehend what all it takes to keep that school going. And money has to be moved around as they do it. Mm-hmm. You might save some here and you might spend some there. So this was a $951,000 that came from the school budget. We had a resolution last night that the sheriff come. He's taking some of his drug money. You know, they find money sometimes when they make arrest.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't go back in the general fund, folks. That goes in the sheriff's budget to use as he sees fit. Last night he moved $38,000 over for license plate reader system. Mm-hmm. I guess that's some things on the pole. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ones where you go through. If you run the stoplight, you're going to get a thing saying, hey, this is your fine. Right.
But he's not after that really as much as murder suspects.
Right.
You know, bank robbers, just if they go through an intersection.
Right.
And that car license plate gets red. Mm-hmm. Well, but $38,000, but this is something it's a new way of fighting crime. I think it's a great way to fight crime.
Right.
I really do, because
well, I mean, it's every other city has that going on. You know.
Well, if your child or wife, Lord forbid, got kidnapped,
oh Lord,
they went through the light down here at the boulevard, this thing would catch it, and that would save a whole lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. So what it is, we had to take this and do 2 readings. Usually, when you're spending county money, taxpayer money, we do it in 2 readings. You know, that takes 2 months' time. 2 meetings, but he was wanting us, so we suspended the rules last night, took care of this, voted twice, so he could get this project going. It's a good project. He also last night got out of the sheriff's department. Here's $21,000, came from a state grant for some more SRO salary supplements for our officers that's inside the school systems. And trust me, there's not a principal in Robertson County that would open up school without these officers. They just wouldn't do it.
Right.
And heaven forbid we ever should have trouble, but just the presence of that car in front of that school, I think, means a whole lot.
It does.
You
better believe it does.
Yeah, don't let them park them around back. We want them sitting up front. Mm-hmm. We want people to know when they pull in there that there's an officer in that school, officer in there, and he is meant for business. And then we're winding down, folks. We spent a lot of time on zoning last night, but we had a resolution come from the highway department. They've got some surplus property. It's got a list here. It's looks like about 3 dump trucks and some old boom mowers. I asked him last night, I said, will this go on Tennessee.gov? He said, yes. The public can bid on these. I think if you call down there and talk nice, they might let you look at some of that stuff. But this is just some things that, it's like this dump truck here. It's got 232,000 miles on it. Yeah. And so
that's a lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles. Probably needs brakes. They're not in excellent condition, trust me. But these side mowers get used all the time, and I don't know if I'd want one of them. But so we voted for that. He's putting that on .govs to get rid of that stuff, and everything that happens out there. Here's a Lincoln welder, a tank, 155-gallon tank, which probably got a hole in it. So that got voted on last night, and then we had something from the schools. We had a resolution for surplus property from schools. It was interesting. 513 obsolete, no longer used current servers. Computers are in disrepair and obsolete. You know, let's think about laptops and stuff. They change them all the time, don't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And, you know, I imagine they get beat up pretty good in school.
Oh, honey, those kiddos. And they're going to be theirs when they graduate.
Right,
you would think they would take better care of them, but they do not. And they're hard on the ones in the classrooms. You know, I have to just, stand over mine to keep them from roughhousing.
I remember my school, they was throwing books out the bus windows.
Oh,
yeah.
Knuckleheads. Love them, but some of them are knuckleheads.
Yes, they are.
But
you got a knucklehead at your house?
Well, mine are all grown and out the door, but I'm telling you, it's funny though. Like I said, you don't have a classroom without a few knuckleheads in there.
Yeah. Here's another one, surplus property from schools. I'm just going to read it. 299 computers, 59 iPads, 10 laptops, 37 projectors, and 133 monitors.
Wow.
Yeah. It's all salvage surplus property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Well, and I probably sent, because when I took over my classroom, the classroom that they assigned for us for audio video had become kind of the storage. People were just putting stuff in there, So when I took the classroom over and we started cleaning it out, there was stuff in there you just can't imagine that was obsolete, and we just had to send it out because it's like we couldn't use it. It wouldn't do what we needed it to do because things to do audio and video, you have to have computers that will move. And so that have got some memory and some processing power and all that. And so there's a lot of things we couldn't use that we had to just send to the surplus place. So I guarantee you some of the stuff that they've got came out of the area that I'm in now. So, because we sent some surplus stuff.
Kids, you say, what, dog eat the homework up? They can't say a dog's eating these computers up.
No. Nothing's on paper anymore. I'm I'm one of those teachers, though. I make them take tests on paper because if you don't, they cheat. And but I don't have to give too many tests. I'm not like a math teacher having to do them all the time. But I do things that I know they're going to cheat on. Oh, I put it on paper.
They're pretty smart, aren't they?
Those kids, if they would just spend as much time doing their work as they do trying to figure out how to get around it, they'd all have straight A's. But yeah, they're super smart. They really are.
Okay, our last resolution last night is giving the counties certain powers granted as the cities under some state TCA rules. It's like Clyde. He got up. Clyde. I can call him Clyde, but our county attorney Clyde Richard got up last night. When all this was done at the state houses, the cities had so much power more than the counties did. We have been fighting for years to get the counties on the same page as the cities. And this resolution is getting Robinson County to where we've got some say in what the cities do when they annex land and maybe not take the roads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get our foot in the door that we can get the same powers that they've got.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the counties want to annex land. That's not what we're wanting to do. But when the land is annexed, don't leave the expense on the counties. You know, it's kind of like if you buy something, you bought it, it's yours, and whether it's like I say, it's detrimental to health, morals, comfort, safety, convenience, or welfare of the inhabitants of the city and the general police powers. You know, it's a lot done there, and this is a step in the direction for us to go to these developers on these subdivisions. If the subdivision is in the city, but the roads are in the county, you're going to have to step up and do what we want you to do to make it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Don't leave it on the taxpayers of the county, because we're going to build the schools, we're going to build the courtrooms, we're going to do the trash and all that. We just need you to help us with the roads. And this is a step in that direction, and thank God this passed full approval last night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this piece of paper will go in front of the highway department next week. As you know, you've got highway commissioners. There's 6 of them down there that represent your area in the county. They will support this, and we'll go back to the county commission with rules. And what this does, them highway superintendents is going to give the superintendent of the highway the say-so about the bonds that will be put on these roads and these turning lanes.
Mm-hmm.
The ball is moving, folks. The ball
Very
is
good.
moving.
Very good. Sounds like y'all got a lot done last night.
We did, but it's been a long time coming.
I hear you.
We have done a lot of work to get to this point. We've been to visited other counties that's got problems like us,
Mm-hmm.
some before us, and we've seen how they did it. First, we want to know, was we in right by the state going this route? We found out we was. We're going to look at our zoning books. Again, hey, you could see some fees be increased.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now houses that we're getting like $2 a foot, but then that house costs $600,000. I mean, what's wrong with giving the county? If you're building a house now, it's $150,000 or $60,000 a foot. What's wrong with giving the county $2.50 a foot?
Yeah.
To furnish the services for that house.
You bet.
Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
Oh, I don't either. I think we have to with the growth that we're seeing. We got to do something. So, talking with Mayor Billy Vogle, if you have any comments in these last few minutes for him, you can put them up in comments, and I'll share those with him. I do want to mention something that we've talked a little bit about all the programs at the library. I had Rose Wooten come in yesterday. I ended up having I messed up the schedule. We'll get Rose back in here, but talking about all the programs that they have available at the library, it's amazing. Different independent programs will come in. There's an estate planning service that's going to be in several days this week. I know they're going to be there Thursday night. Originally, my husband and I had signed up to go to that. Now they've moved my teachers' meetings to that, my parent-teachers meetings to that, so I won't be able to go. But there's just all kinds of cool things going on at the library, so you need to check into what's happening. And one big thing happening today is in association with the United Way, the VITA tax program they're going to be on hand at the library today. So if you want to have some help with your taxes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., you can stop by, and this is a free service for any household that's 70,000 or less. And I thought it was even actually like 73,000, somewhere in there, but it's in that range. If you have an income less than that, you can get free tax services. They'll help you file your taxes. It is an amazing program for the United Way. Hopefully the United Way will be in here on Thursday at 7:30. We've missed talking to them the last couple of weeks because of the snow last week, of course, but hopefully we'll get an update from them as to what that schedule will be. But we do know that they normally had those services available at the central office for the schools at the main office there, but they've moved those to the library and to the YMCA to make them a little more accessible. So today is one of those days you can go and get free tax help from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. for households making less than $70,000. And again, you can just go in there. You don't have to have an appointment, they're saying today. So maybe go by there and see about that. But that's a great program that they have. They've got some cool stuff at the library. When's the last time you went to the library, Mayor?
I had to go to a meeting there not long ago, but I still got my library card. I do use it.
Yeah. I love the library. I don't get to read near as much as I do a lot of audiobooks now. I have, Audible, and I purchase books on Audible all the time and just listen to books because I have very little time to sit down and read. But I love the library. And I was talking with Rose yesterday about the things you can do that are like adventures, where you can go and check out fishing poles, or you can check out this packet that will give you passes to a local museum for free. just all kinds of cool things, and science experiments, all kinds of neat things, so much beyond just checking out a book. So the library is just getting cooler all the time. It's awesome.
Hey, let me put a bug in everybody's ears.
Okay.
If you get a chance, go out there to Animal Control, see the new facility.
It is beautiful.
Hey, there's some animals, dogs, and cats out there that need adopting. They need a friend. You need a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let me tell you, a dog's love is unconditional.
You better believe it.
So go out there and get you a friend. And I always think about Animal Control, and I forget to bring them up. But I wish you would just take a visit out there and see what's going on.
I went out there just because you kept saying I stopped by one day just because I wanted to see the new facility. It's absolutely beautiful, and but there are I can't hardly stand to.
There wasn't a bad dog in there, was it?
Oh, they're all beautiful and sweet, and I wish I could take them all home with me.
Cats too. I ain't gonna leave the cats out.
Yeah, well, I'm a cat person too. I love cats. I need another cat. My cat I got right now is a little bit of an ornery old cuss. He needs to just live in my barn.
Well, you need a friend.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how that would go over if I brought a friend in for him. So I don't know. Sometimes, cats are real temperamental. I've had really great cats, and I've had some that just wore me out. This one I've got right now, I adopted him not from Animal Control here. I adopted it from a pet adoption up like PetSmart or something up in Nashville. And the glowing reports of this cat, just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That cat's feral. I mean, he is not anything like they described. He's an ornery old thing, but he's mine,
Yeah,
so.
and hey, this time next month when y'all talk to me, I think we'll be back in the courtroom.
Really?
I hope so.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to be a beautiful day. Enjoy
Yes.
Robson County, and I get to work for Robson County today. And
Me too.
And I think we all need a pretty week of weather. But, folks, we're going to have some more cold weather now, so don't, just enjoy this.
I think we're going to have another snow.
Aaron Slate, take care of that baby.
Oh, I know. Has he got a pretty little girl? Oh, my goodness. We'll have to get him in here and get an update on that family. Anyway, so much good stuff happening here in Robertson County. It is time to go, though. But as Mayor mentioned just a little bit earlier, the Veterans Service Office has a new office, and they've been there, since that building opened. They're going to be in tomorrow to talk to you about all the things you need to know for our veterans here in Robertson County. So I hope you'll join us. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. And thank you guys for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a absolutely wonderful day. God bless.
One street over there's a life I could have known. When Goliath stands before me and my courage slips away, when the storm blows all around